Hello friends, welcome to All That Matters, a channel about all and everything. India is a country with indomitable spirit in resisting invaders, those who try to enter through the borders of Bharatvarsh, whether it is Arab, Turk, Mughal, Portuguese or the British. We have heard of many spirited warriors like Prithviraj Chauhan, Rana Pratap, Shivaji Maharaj or Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. There are many brave women as well who have also tried their best and showed their mettle in resisting the foreign powers. When we celebrate the International Women's Day and everything related to women, let us also get to know about some great Indian women warriors who displayed great valor, courage and heroism and have been pivotal for the cause they fought for. The valor of many queens has been buried under the sand of time. Nowadays, we talk about women empowerment. Let us remember the powerful women in our Indian history whom we have largely forgotten. Rani Abbakka. Rani Abbakka Chauta was the first Tuluva queen of Ullal in Karnataka. Ullal is located at a distance of around 15 kilometers from Mangalore in Karnataka. Her uncle crowned her the queen through matrilineal system in the year 1525 and she ruled the kingdom for 4 decades. Ullal was a prosperous port and was a hub of the spice trade to Arabia and other countries. Being the profitable trading center, the Portuguese wanted to take control of the region and the trade. Due to the fact that the port of Ullal was strategically placed, the Portuguese made several attempts to capture it. In 1555, the Portuguese attacked Ullal and Rani Abbakka successfully repulsed the attack. Subsequently, in 1568, Portuguese again attacked Ullal, but Rani could defeat them and kill the Portuguese general who led the attack. Further, she made Portuguese to vacate the Mangalore port which they had occupied. She lost the war against Portuguese in 1570 due to the treachery of her estranged husband. She was captured by the Portuguese and she died in captivity. Rani Abbakka resisted the Portuguese for more than 40 years and did not let them capture the territory she ruled. While Rani Jhansi has become a symbol of courage, Rani Abbakka, who fiercely resisted Portuguese nearly 300 years before the Rani Jhansi, has been largely forgotten by history. Next is Rani Durgavati. Rani Durgavati was the queen of Kingdom of Gondwana, which is currently part of the state of Madhya Pradesh. She ruled the kingdom for 14 years, starting from 1550 after the death of the king. She died in the battle with Mughal while defending her kingdom in 1564. Rani Durgavati was married to Prince Dalpat Shah of Gondwana kingdom, with whom she had a son, Veer Narayan. Her husband died when Prince Veer Narayan was only 5 years old. Rani Durgavati took the reins of Gondwana kingdom since the prince was too young to rule. The neighboring kingdom Malwa attacked her kingdom and she successfully defended and repulsed the attack. The prosperity of the Rani's kingdom lured the Mughal empire of Akbar and the Mughal attacked her kingdom. Rani decided to defend her kingdom with all her might in spite of being made aware of the strength of Mughal forces. Her stance was to die respectfully than to live a disgraceful life. In the defensive battle at Narai, Rani led the defense herself when her Fauzdar died in the battle. She got injured badly and lost consciousness in the course of the battle. On regaining consciousness and realizing that defeat was imminent, she killed herself with a dagger. Such was the greatness of Rani Durgavati. Next comes Rani Karnavati. Rani Karnavati was queen of Garhwal kingdom, part of the current day state of Uttarakhand. She was the wife of King Mahipad Shah and she ruled the kingdom from 1631 after the death of the king. Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan invaded Garhwal and King Mahipati Shah suffered injuries during the Battle of Kumaon and died. The prince was 7-year-old then when the king died. Rani Karnavati took the reins of Garhwal kingdom since the prince was too young to rule. Mughal army of Shah Jahan again attacked during the rule of the queen, and she successfully defended the kingdom against the invaders and repelled them. She came down heavily on Mughal army and captured them only to release them after cutting off their noses. She sent out a message to the Mughal court that if she could chop off their noses, she could also chop off their heads. The queen was known for her ruthless bravery, which earned her the title of Nakkati Rani, which means the queen who cuts the nose. Some years later, her grown-up son came to the throne and ruled wisely under Rani Karnavati's guidance. Now let us see the greatness of Keladi Rani Chennamma. Rani Chennamma was the queen of Keladi kingdom in Karnataka. After the death of her husband in 1677, Chennamma took over the reign of kingdom and efficiently handled the administration of Keladi Nayaka dynasty. She ruled for 25 years, and during these years she defeated the Mysore kingdom and other smaller kingdoms and maintained independence of Keladi. However, she is remembered for her courage for giving shelter to Rajaram Chhatrapati, who was the enemy of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. She provided shelter to Rajaram Chhatrapati, son of Shivaji Maharaj, who was fleeing from the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. She was well aware of the consequences of providing shelter to Rajaram, and that was nothing but to face the huge Mughal army. The Mughal army of Aurangzeb attacked Keladi, and that led to the war. Rani Chennamma repelled the Mughal army and the battle ended in a treaty with Mughal. Now let's talk about Maharani Tarabai. Queen Tarabai was the wife of Maratha king Chhatrapati Rajaram and was the daughter-in-law of the founder of the Maratha Empire, Chhatrapati Shivaji. King Chhatrapati Rajaram died suddenly due to ill health. Queen Tarabai took over the reins of the Maratha kingdom in year 1700. The 25-year-old Queen Tarabai took command of the Maratha army, realizing the urgent need for strategic and stable leadership if the Marathas were to stop the onslaught of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. She continued leading Maratha Empire from 1700 until 1708 for 8 years. She personally led the war against Mughal forces of Aurangzeb. A skilled cavalry warrior herself, she also motivated her commanders and soldiers and personally led aggressive attacks on the enemy. She is acclaimed for her role in keeping alive the resistance against Mughal after the death of her husband. During this period, the supreme guiding force for Marathas was not any minister but the Queen Tarabai herself. Her administrative genius and strength of character saved the Maratha Empire from being overrun by the Mughals. Tarabai did not just prevent the Maratha Confederacy from disintegrating when it was at its lowest ebb. She played a crucial role in its rise to national power. Had the indomitable queen not taken charge in 1700, it is quite likely that the Marathas would have disintegrated and the history of India would have been very different. This shows that, unlike what is made to believe that women were oppressed in our country in earlier times, these women warriors who have excelled and have been at par with men of their period show that women are always at par and are sometimes superior to men. With this note, I wish all women out there a happy Women's Day. Let us continue to do our best in whatever we do. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel.